Welcome back. My name is Azalea, and last time we finished up the very start of this, and here we are back at the passenger terminal, the cruise terminal. All these smiling faces excited to get out on a cruise. We're working on this pier. I just used Traffic Manager Present Edition to make connections. I wanted to use this, there we go. I guess I figured it out. I wanted to use the side street, parking lot, road, street to add some more parking. Like this would be maybe visitor parking, somebody's Uber, who knows. But it's this would be more like a temporary parking and not really long term. I would imagine that there'd be a deal with the cruise line and the hotels where you would buy the cruise, and in the package you get your hotel night and the parking. But I'm sure that people will tell me terrible stories how they came back from a cruise and suddenly had a $200 or $300 parking bill. Maybe more. And I'm thinking here, how can I be safe? How can I stop people from just whipping around this corner at a high rate of speed and whacking into cars? Or more importantly, somebody who's walking to their vehicle. What I'm missing is basically what I might get is I might just go get a jetway from the airport and have it as our connection to the boat. And I'm using these corrugated roofs, and I realize they have different textures, so I just spammed a bunch until I got the one I wanted. I'm using this corrugated roof to provide shade. If they're anything like me, they're very pale, and waiting to board in the hot sun out on a pier may probably start some people off on the wrong foot, and they'll have a severe sunburn. Even though they have sunscreen. I mean, that was my thought. I was like, if I were going on this cruise, I would want something to shield me from the sun, because the sun is this big ball of fire and we don't get along. We agree to disagree. I like looking at the sun through windows. Unless it's a sunset or a sunrise, then in which case, count me in. I'll sit on the beach and time lapse that whole thing, and that the sun and I will agree on that we could have that moment together. Now I added this Coast Guard station, and right now, it has no road connection and it covers 2 roads. And I'm thinking, how can I have this station here as well as be near this terminal, right? Does it need its own pier? I'm thinking maybe not. And wouldn't it be cool if we take the road underneath the building? I think that would be the coolest thing. I'd get a kick out of it. It's like, look, there's the Coast Guard. Wow, we're going underneath the building. Who designed this? They're a genius. I mean, that would go through my head. I don't know if it would go through yours, but it would go through mine. And then I'm thinking they need to have more space. They have more equipment, like say some rescue helicopters. Now this Coast Guard asset actually serves as a police station. And I'm like, I can't get it. That node is apparently counted as above ground? And then I'm thinking, what if they don't stay at the hotel? And then I'm thinking, how do I anchor this canopy in case we get strong winds? And then I'm moving this around like, my rule is I have to have a curb cut. I think I switch it. I think I switch sides. Like, we're going to make people drive all the way around and we're going to make them come in here. Because it'll make more sense when they leave. Then they're not caught up in that other traffic. And then we're going to make a sidewalk. And we're going to allow people to kind of hang out on dry land. I really like those palm trees. There's a few favorites. I'm kind of using these ones almost exclusively in this city. I think there's some coconut palms that I use somewhere else. I believe those are date palms. And so now I'm thinking, how does the Coast Guard, where do they park? I'm like, yeah, okay, so this kind of works. Now, where do I park them? Do I park people along the side? Do I park them... I was thinking, gosh, I could do 45-degree angle, but they all like... They can go both ways on the street. It's not one way. And then I think what I did is I ended up just forcing it to be one way. By doing that. Using lane connection to only give them permission to go this direction and that direction. The new park life paths are great, but I don't know if I kept it. In fact, yeah, I think I just left it at that because the park life path, if it doesn't connect to another network, it has that rounded corner. I guess I could have shoved it underneath, but it doesn't. It has that thickness because it's a model, as opposed to these pedestrian paths. The original ones are effectively an invisible path with concrete. I don't know how helicopters are supposed to land. Do they land like that and then I tweaked it a little bit so it's not quite centered on the H. Looks too good. I also don't really have a hangar for those helicopters. I could maybe technically get rid of one and have a hangar on one side and then move that sidewalk off a bit. Okay, now we have that done. Now what's next? Oh yeah, to connect it, I think. How does one get from here to here? We build industry to connect it. That's right. Warehouses. Makes sense to me, right? Well, it is true. We should do that. So in this area, I basically wanted to extend the function of the port to other warehouses. I noticed at the front of these buildings they have a ramp and that they don't quite connect well when I pushed them together, so I gave them a little separation. Mind you, I'm doing all of this to figure out how to connect the port. Like, okay, if I have this here, I can make this road there. And then we're gonna elevate this road. And this road is gonna elevate over this, so we want to make sure that it can elevate over it, but we also want to keep it low enough to where we're not creating a high wind risk. You know, if this is elevated high enough, when we get winds coming off the ocean, you could potentially open up a risk of, you know, larger trucks getting. It's like the high wind warnings in Colorado. They close down sections of highway, at least in the Denver metro area. They would say there's a high wind warning on this highway, don't go there. And then you would have the one truck that goes there and then is like turned over. And I think I was like, this is too close. We're going to skip it. So at this time, I'm also considering points of access, because not only am I going to have this cruise terminal here, but I'm going to have some industry right above where we're at. And I'm going to have some warehouses. So the industry in the warehouse there is going to generate some traffic. And I didn't necessarily want to shove a highway through here. But that doesn't mean we can't treat this as a highway. And I'm kind of thinking how can I make this work? So these two ramps, right now they both go the same direction, but yeah. I'm trying to be mindful what type of traffic is going to be coming through here. So in this case, they kind of go back on each other. If they're coming in off this artery to get to the warehouses, they have to make a left turn, which is easier for a bigger truck to make than a right turn. But they do make a right turn going back out to the highway. Right now, the highway is a 4-lane road with a median. I really like this asset. It's a Victorian mill. But you can kind of mix and match its pieces. And I'm thinking maybe it was an older like clothing factory or something. But it's a huge facility. It's a larger facility that kind of it's a historic building. It still operates, not to the same capacity, but it still operates. Here I'm looking for ways to like, get trucks to pick up. I was like, oh, well, let's just use all this because this has doors. I think I do a mix and match, doors, no doors, doors, no doors, and then this corner piece. And then we run back the other way. I think now this building would be more small scale manufacturing. They divided it up into smaller parcels. Think of it as like loft space, but you know, crafting space, like loft, you know, crafts. Like it's a leather worker, or you know, it's a fashion designer. These people would go to those restaurants we made last episode. Be a pain to get to. Maybe they use Uber Eats. Who knows? But that's the type of stuff that goes through my head when I'm building. Is like, where do these guys get lunch? How do they get lunch? Where do they go? And now I'm looking for a place to make a bus station that will go with our terminal. Once I place that bus station, I was like, oh, well, we'll put it here. And I don't know if we detail it this one. I didn't even see if we placed it, but I'm going to give these guys parking. We destroyed some buildings to fit some parking. There were probably some residential units here at some time for the old mill. Nobody wants to live here anymore. This is back before cars were invented. And they came out here on a wagon or boat. But that boat ride would be a really long and impressive boat ride. Back when we were looking for a path, the Northwest Passage. No such luck, friends. No rivers connect. imagine if one river did actually connect, how big that city would be. We could at least make this place pretty. I mean, it is all industrial, but we could plant some flowers. Ah, the old factory. Man, Surface Painter is such a nice tool when you have all the roads are ones that won't get erased. It's like done. If I remember correctly, I think I fence out that bus depot. And then I think, yeah, here I'm placing all of these together in a line to produce like one long warehouse. Although I think they all say Williams, right? I don't know if I get rid of that. I don't know if I can. I'm getting rid of like the random props and the trash bins. It's like, okay, now what do I do? More industry. We need to give people jobs. Jobs, 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 and more jobs. Because before you know it, we're going to have residents, and they're going to need a place to work. I really love that pipe. I just use that network, because then it's like, boom, it's a pipe, and it's not props. And then these parking lots, these parking spaces operate as buildings. You have a much higher building cap than you do the prop count, right? I think I was so used to not having the 4x2, I didn't catch the update. And so I made it, and I'm like, how does this work? I don't know if I discovered it building this city, or if I discovered it building the city on Twitch. But for the longest time, we had the 3x2, where you had the 2 rows of the basically 6 spaces with 2 rows, and we didn't have the 12? 8 spaces? Was that? I don't know. But anyway, we didn't have that. And then I was thinking, these people are going to have to turn around somehow. So I left a little bit of visual room. They're actually going to drive to the concrete and turn around on the concrete, but who knows? Ugh, I love this rusty warehouse. And I think this is here I realized that the roof changes. Like, oh, look, that roof changes. Like, oh, look at that. I'm looking to see how I can place it. But I put them together so you have a front and a back door. I think I treat this as a bus garage. as another, like a maintenance facility. Even though that's what that depot does, but don't tell the depot. I'm like, shoot, this is just gonna cover everything. I'll just do this. Fixed it. While I'm at it, I'm gonna fix this too. Man, these network structures, the network tiling, oh my goodness. And then now we have like the fence tools because of park life, right? There's so many new fences on the workshop. This predates one of them. I might have to go back and make some changes. Like, I like that, like the concrete fence, that concrete wall is that's gonna stay. That's like, if you could jump over this, good luck. But like that trash bag, if we had one of those props, like just the color changing, if we could alter the color changing one to have the an open lid, we could shove those little trash bags in there. So if you're watching, I don't know how hard it would be. It would be a different model. Or we could pretend the lid blew off. Here I'm trying to figure out how buses would get here. And what I reasoned with myself is that I think they would get backed up. They only have so much space to work with. But if there was a mechanic, the porter would pull out of the garage and then back into the space. That's a little neat trick. Make a node, pull out from that fence and then just spin the node around. Yay, now we're gonna have color in our warehouse. This looks so good when you put on the depth of field and you look down this aisle. I really like this container and truck series. I can't remember the actual name of it, but it is in the collection. But every single one of these bays has to have a trailer in it because that's basically what I've seen. See that loading bay? I was looking for it one of the other episodes, or it's either this episode or a future episode, and I couldn't find it for the life of me. And here it is, right in our face. And I didn't tag it when I saw it, because I always think of it as a dock. Because in my work experience, it was a loading dock. It's okay. I could tag it now. I already have. But you know, that's like the funny thing. Like, you call it one thing, I call it another. That's what I love about the workshop, and that's what I love about City Skylines community is not only it'll enrich your life in multiple ways you didn't expect. And I get a kick that the way I think about something is very different the way somebody else thinks about something, and it enlightens me to use different vocabulary. And I enjoy that so much. Like, I never used the term Lowry in my life. It's always a trailer. It's always a truck. It's a flatbed truck. Not a Lowry. Right? And here I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get these, but what I did is I lowered them enough to where you see some of that stain. Like, you know, it might have rained and it just kind of washes off, or maybe there's a little bit, there's a weird storm. Who's doing donuts in the driveway? I imagine maybe some hydraulics or oil or something, you know, something leaked from a truck or a trailer. But then that trick with the move it tool, if you have to do a lot of page down until you start to see the effect, but it does add some subtlety. Oh, I'm putting drains in. It's like there has to be vehicles that have gone through here. Maybe they didn't replace that concrete yet. It's a little older. I think I go further and I make like a barricade around those stacks, those cooling stacks. This just adds so much. Now, we don't necessarily want a map theme that automatically has like this distressed look, because it'll still look the same. But I really need to see if I can get it to save again. But make a building that has these decals on top of each other, you know, layered, and a variety of patterns would save so much on the prop count. Yeah, there's the barrier. And I did it out of the concrete walls. It's like, stay out. Well, when a garbage truck or something hits that wall, they don't take down a cooling stack. I think I tried to use the Park Life foliage. Try as I might, I try to use the game's foliage when I'm detailing with all this other stuff, and it's like, nope. Playing vanilla, it's fine, but it just looks so out of place next to the workshop items. You guys that make this workshop content, First of all, none of us that do this could do this without you. And second of all, thank you. I believe this is the coconut palm. Like, they don't need to be big trees. They just need to help cover things. And now it's like, let's brush all these trees here and then delete them off the concrete. Need some variety in these trees, so here comes some evergreens, some large bushes, the coconut palms. You know, there is an ecosystem. Those are ferns, right? And then there's the cluster. P. Delmo's clusters are really excellent. 10 out of 10 would use them again and again and again and again. I think this is where I start to like, oh, let's build a highway. Let's save the game. I don't want to break your hopes and dreams, but this highway ends up being replaced and replaced and then replaced again, and then I think replaced again. But this is an excellent time to show you how I make my highways. So I ran that line. I'm thinking, well, this is supposed to be Southern California, so there'll be a million lanes. But then I don't like how it looks, so I switch it back to the 3. And I'm trying to reason how I'm gonna make this connection. And so I'm splitting my traffic into two different roads. And I'm using Move It to kind of nudge them into place, make like a little hip. I'm like, that didn't work out. I'm like, nope, that didn't work out either. Like, why am I having trouble with this? There we go, kind of. So I'm making this, and I think I realized, like, oh, wait a minute. Well, let's just connect this, so at least it's connected. It's like, okay, now this is a different road than I just had. So, what road is it? Like, okay, now how do I get these to connect? Really like that trick. Get your points there and then run that line between and then just bend it into place. I don't even know if I realized when I made this that I only have one road. One side of that highway is coming out. I know that this, oh, there we go. We're like, oh yeah, look. So see, this interchange doesn't end up being too bad. It's just kind of, I know that there's going to be other stuff up the coast. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the highway. I know the airport's going to go up there. But I'm not sure yet. So when I'm making this, I'm like, I just need something to connect this to this. And there went an autosave. And I think what's going to happen, oh, look, there's a train. I'm like, oh, look, there's a train. Like, oh, look at that. I think that's our first train. There they go. Like, it works. Look at that. And then I think I realized that they're stopping there, and yep. Okay, so Traffic Manager President Edition allows you to tell people, to tell those cars to go through that intersection, just like that, and now they don't stop. And I think we're going to be leaving it off here in a second. I think I explore what this area looks like. But this is not, I don't think this is how it ends. Oh, I'm like zoning it. Yeah, let's see if we get people here. Yeah, that'll be a great idea. Until next time, my name is Azili. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Be good to each other.